afternoon. I don't really. I've started this January vlog about 3 times already, and I don't know what to say. It's weird. I usually have more of a sense of what I want the year to be, and I definitely have a lot of projects planned. I did not finish Y24 in 2024, so I've given myself a week to get my ass in gear and fix that. I do know what I want to do to start preparing for Y25, and it shouldn't take that much time. It's mostly just setting things up, but also we are kind of a little bit more regimented this year because I'm also attempting to write 7 books, each in 7 weeks. Um, and it's the 1st of January. It's basically started, and I haven't written a thing yet. Um, Not to mention, Keep My Eye on the Chamber Door is due in a few days. I can't remember what day Thingway's chapters go up on. I didn't include his name in the chapter, and so you're not getting it here. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I know minutely what I'm doing this year, but I also just feel like I don't know anything, and it's confusing. So this is one of the things that I got for Christmas, and hopefully it will be good. So it is a tripod because this is kind of heavy as is. I don't see the buttons for opening it up yet, but that'll be fine. I'm sure I'll find them at some point. Okay, so this is excellent and I'm really enjoying it. It does of course take up more space because it's tripod. This was also for Christmas. It is a Jade City Greenbone Saga sweater. It's not that comfy. I have to unfortunately say. Also, the thing that you apply that makes like the green stuff, it just feels like that all the way down, which is really weird, and I hate like adjusting it because it feels like I'm just gonna rub something off. But I guess I'll get used to it. It's also a little bit a bit tight around the boobs. It is a tour style shirt though, so it's got like tour dates and locations on the back. I don't really think I was that into the holiday seasons of late. But then this year I did spend so much time bedbound that all of the lights were just. I really needed the cheer. No snow for us yet, but a girl can dream. So I have this, which I hope is going to be good because it is a fucking freezing tonight. They have promised me snow, however, and it is not snowing. I don't think it's snowed at all yet, which is very disappointing. I've sworn that I had a few days left on my library loan, but no, apparently it's one day, which is a little bit daunting. It is Red Memory, so we're talking about the Cultural Revolution, and it is harrowing. So I was kind of hoping to be able to take more breaks, but as usual, when you lose a few days to being in bed, it throws things off. By far not the most interesting subject, I know, but I'm having a little bit of trouble with this and with work, and it's annoying me because I have 7 and 7 and I have Y25, which actually doesn't need a lot of things doing this week, even this month. But the blog is such a pain, and I have so many books to read and review and it's kind of gotten to that point of so much I'm paralysed, which is not fun, but hopefully I can claw the blog back into shape, because today is covered, and Wednesday kind of, if at the least I can get something for, if I can get 2 things this week, I count that as success. Oh. Oh my god, it's so cold.
90, 100, 110, 120, 130, lovely, 200, 210, 220.
Ooh, which one was that? Oh, one.
So I think this is mine. I think this is the bamboo jersey.
I'm in profit. With the glass leading through the clear winner, there is still more treasures to
And this might be yours, I've no idea.
Is it a net?
first, the locket with the family
No.
That's mine under really unconsidered.
I'm assuming this is yours.
I only ordered one, I think.
Oh, no.
Did I not?
You ordered 2.
Uh-oh.
And I'm assuming these are the linens, so they're mine.
Yeah.
I'm really not seeing a difference between them.
Maybe.
She's been now big.
No, this one's a bit more grey.
Textured.
This one's a bit more grey, but
It looks like there's no any texture to it, that bottom one.
it might just be the way that this is
Right,
facing, yeah.
Packed with more of Uncle Alan's collectibles. Not surprising, perhaps, that mattress in a click. For mattresses, pillows, and more, order now at Emma-Sleep.
My cooking is never on time. It's always going up at 7 when we're supposed to be eating at 6:30. But it's on time tonight, unlike everything else. Do you want to have a look?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is this, that's mine, this one? Can I just feel it?
Yeah.
Not quite. Okay. Alright.
The reason I brought you here is because you said you wanted somewhere you could keep your car.
Okay, so I think this 2024's most bizarre survival horror is probably The Last of Ghosttober going up. And I'm going to have a quick look at that. This is the guy, by the way, who made the video on fake video games that started Y25. I don't know what it is about night that just makes me feel in the mood to watch horror. But it sure is a choice. It is quite bright. Mum is right. Certainly it couldn't have, it wasn't great the way it was. Opinion on Nosferatu 1922, I believe, is that there was, it's very obvious what its source was, but it made changes, as all adaptations do, that didn't really make sense to me. The lack of care from the locals on his travels was the worst of them. It really... Dracula's Many Things, a murder mystery, is one of them, but I really liked that people cared so much. The woman who didn't know him, just giving him a cross for his mother's sake, if not for his own, you know. Little touches like that really mean something, you know. And they just didn't have a place. Also, why would you? He wasn't a prisoner of the castle, which was a choice. They made him a lot less gothic heroine coded, which, fine, not the worst change, but not being trapped in the castle was just weird. Like, you found this guy's coffin and you're just gonna go back to your room. Forgive me, I've had this sitting in like the very wrong place. That's okay. Okay. And Ellen is, well, listen, I love Mina, and so Ellen was never going to be Mina. She was never going to be the train fiend, but I know there's something really interesting in that, and I have been spoiled for what the director intended. And like, no offense to the dark romance girlies, I'm not a dark romance girly, and that is more because I haven't found something that treads the line for me, rather than because I'm against the genre. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. My appetite for Dracula and Mina decreased rapidly after. I'm not naked under this. After Dracula Daily. So we will see how that goes. Okay, so I wanted to dress up, and I know that this is not Dracula, but the moment I saw the Nosferatu trailer, I thought this is the closest we're going to get. So, dress up. So the skirt is linen naive, and the corset is of bards and witches, I think. It'll be down below. Okay, so I've seen a few people discuss the interviews and such, and again, if you wanna ship them, ship and let ship. But if you're going to romanticize it, if you're going to go for dark romance, where is it? You have to put it in. And the only moment that was at all even inclined in that direction, in my view, is that she held on to him when he died. And even that could just be like, no, I'm gonna make sure that you don't get away. Because honestly, when she put her arm around him, I genuinely thought she was going to say "fuck you." There was no like last lingering word look with the husband either, but that is not like a point in favor of dark romance. I am going to put a book down in the description. It is by one of my favourite educators, Madeline Potter. It is A History of the Roma. She watched the movie recently and did say that it was nice that they paid attention, that they got in these Roma, I think she said non-actors, but like specifically for the dialect. But they went like full stereotype, with that one scene which would have been against purity laws. Also, it was nice that they were the hunters and not the evil minions, but yeah, not great. And I just wanted to point that out because I've seen a lot of people really be excited about that part of the film. and say that it did like really well. And it did really well with some things, with the historical dress, it seems, but yeah, that moment is not one that I've seen anyone really talk about besides her. Okay, dinner's calling. I will be back. If I had not been filming, I wouldn't have tried to put this on with the top for modesty. It fit perfectly when I put it on just as is, but I think that maybe loosened it off a bit too much. So, the movie wasn't quite the success that I'd hoped it would be, but we have decided on a colour for the blouse, which we think suits both the black and my skin tone. So these were the needles behind one of my little box formations, shall we say, and I think these are the ones I used for DK. Actually, on second guess, I'm not sure these are the same size. As you can tell, one of them does not have numbers. That is what happens when you inherit your needles. I think this one is thinner than this one, and I think there's a minuscule difference in the shape of the heads, and I think one is slightly bigger than the other, which could just, like the height thing, you could pass off as just like a slight variation because the width matters more. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. With everything going on, with all my stupid projects, why would this be the year that I decide to try and subtitle everything to a job that I absolutely hate? It's such drudgery. So I want to rant a little bit more about Nosferatu because we've gotten to the part of Demon Slayer where the people I love are dying, and I have been cutting chilies, which I was very forcefully reminded of. And I think the reason that the dark romance thing doesn't work in another way is that I really like that they kind of expanded on why it was Ellen by making her kind of psychic in a way that is more obvious than the original Nosferatu. But they didn't flesh him out. So, I know I always feel bad with being like, well, why does he care? Why does he want her? Because, for personal reasons, I know if I were a story, I would not be getting. People would be frustrated with me for the same reason. Like, why are you fixated? But to be clear, I think you would still lose something because I think it's a really good allegory for abuse from everything that I've read. But he was woken up by her, and I think if you wanted to do like a doomed romance, make him Jareth from the Labyrinth, because his thing was like he was what she wanted. So there's a picture in her room of her mother with an actor who looks, who is basically David Bowie, and it's like, well, that's kind of what you wanted. You wanted him to be the romantic hero, and you wanted him to be the villain. And there's a line of like, what was the line again? I just think if they had played into that she had called him and he was molded by her as much as she was by him, that would make a more compelling romance, I would actually be able to see the appeal. I would actually be able to see that this was a direction that they were going in, but again, it's a good allegory for abuse, and that would completely wreck it. We finished reading the book and viewing it and everything, and it's been up for 24 minutes. And it's fine because I had most of the notes already done, because the problems at the beginning of the book were basically the problems throughout. And we've got this book spotlight to go up next. I genuinely don't know when I'm going to post tomorrow, and I haven't even started writing it. So I think I can cope with the Patreon for this month. I think I can cope with 7 and 7. There's a lot that I can live with. The blog is very slowly killing me, it feels like. Oh god, I still have to like take my notes and make it like a proper review for Blood Lasts Forever, and then read and review 2 books before the end of the year. End of the month. God damn, my brain is. And also I don't think I like my review for the Axe. So that's probably gonna have to. Ugh. Ooh, okay. Ooh, okay. So I was a little bit concerned that this was going to be too high, because Asian noses, my kind of Asian nose, doesn't really have a bridge. But I'm actually not. I don't hate it. And it's real nice to be able to see clear again. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I was very excited about Xiaohongshu and everyone moving over from TikTok, and there was like some really nice moments of cultural exchange and understanding, and I admit I kind of bought into the hype and I decided to join as well. And now there is talk of like the Chinese government looking at that and being concerned and floating around the idea of like siloing off the app geographically, and for obvious reasons this has really upset a lot of diaspora who are using it to connect with people in place and culture. And I don't know, it's kind of taken the joy out of it for me, because yeah, you've got all these people coming in and it's like you have this lovely little town and then someone puts it on the map and you have all these tourists, and all the houses that have been up for sale are bought and they turn into Airbnbs, and the people who live there can't stay there anymore, and it sucks. And I am also a tourist in that scenario, which also sucks as a realisation. It's not like I got any family, you know. I guess I don't know. I keep wondering if it would help to like delete the account. And a part of me is very resentful of that, because I didn't start it, and it's really nice to be able to hear people speak in the accent that I spoke with when I was there before I lost it all. But like, even if everyone just deleted and left who joined up in that rush, if they were floating around steps, they're probably still going to silo it off, right? And then that, I guess my problem in my head is like, well, even if no one else leaves, even if nothing changes because I'm just one person, there's still like the principle of the thing, you know? And I wish, as I so often do, that I were like a good person and I could do the decent thing easily instead of just my usual shtick of like, feel bad, be selfish anyway. But I guess, yeah. Okay, so I started reading The Laddie, the Maori, the Todd, and the Cuddy, which is the Scots translation of The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And it's really nice, and I wanted to improve my Scots. I knew what the font was in the English version. I should have expected that to still be the font in the Scots version. It doesn't, it's very handwritten. It doesn't make it easy to read. I have been looking up some stuff on the DSL. I don't know, muckle is a weird word. The weird word in that, like, you know, many makes a muckle, and it's one of those words that I can know and I don't know. But yeah, I'm having a struggle with it. Now, I think this is from 2023 that I played this lovely woman. And it's weird to kind of come back now. For absolutely no reason, this just popped back into my head. It was a music channel back in the very early years of the Academy that I really loved. I think it was mostly classical music. And like versions of My Love is Like a Red Red Rose. And why, brain? Okay, so update. We are doing real bad with the book for 11 a.m. Thursday. I'm not even a quarter of the way through. Reading it, it was like someone upturned a bucket of bricks on my head. Just every single brick hitting me in the head and then the bucket. Just spitting. You know, like in Tom and Jerry, that kind of thing? We got this woman's whole entire backstory in chapter 1, and it wasn't even all of chapter 1. It just, if there was something to tell you, it told you. And now, this woman is staying in the murdered woman's house after the police got the body from the guest house, and it's just like, I'm sorry, in what world would you be allowed to do that? So I'm not having a great time with it, but we have time for review. I have stayed up all night, partly because of this, partly because I just have not, my sleep schedule is all, I woke up at like 11. So today's review, what I do want to rewrite, we have WWW Wednesday, which I didn't need to stay up to do because it's not Wednesday morning. We have 2 reviews on Thursday. We have Friday sorted, and then I think I can get the review done for the 31st before Monday, but it is, I think, a retelling of St. Augustine's, and I did not realise that when I signed up for it. I also didn't realise I signed up for so many in January, but fuck me, it's okay. But the schedule is pretty much empty apart from this month, which is kind of making me panic a little bit. On the bright side, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 scheduled on Patreon and Ko-fi. I can get some writing done today for 7 and 7, but it is both going better and worse than I thought it would. and I've been able to subtitle most of my YouTube videos this year. I just don't know if I can keep up this momentum. Well, that's good at least, but I think we might have had an outage and we do not got Wi-Fi. For someone who is struggling with this book that I have to review, I took a break and I read The Marble Queen. Really interesting title. I don't think it has anything to do with the actual. I don't understand why it's called that. Anyway, what I mean to say is I have enough notes to write a review of that. Which frankly tells you everything you need to know about my idea of a break. So it seems like my winning streak has continued. I won last month's a giveaway in J Stafford Advent Calendar, and this month the Audrey edition of Bambi. And I really like Audrey. It is an audiobook app, but with every book you're assigned a guide who will tell you about like the historical context, some literary analysis, as with The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, which I want to emphasize, it is really interesting. I personally do not agree with women's gothic as like a thing, but still really enlightening. And I'm looking forward to getting to Bambi probably next month though. They have had to put their prices up a little bit this year, but especially if like your interest is in the gothic, might I recommend Romancing the Gothic, whose videos you can watch for free on YouTube. I mean, I'm confident, but do you think I can get this book finished and reviewed in 2 hours and 30-ish minutes? Could it have been a better book? Absolutely. Did I think it pulled together really well? Yes. Does ranting about it in all the ways it frustrates me mean it's a bad book? No. I'd still give it 3 stars. And I think the problem is that I give a lot of books 3 stars. Because a book that frustrates me and annoys me is not one that I dislike. And we don't drop to 2 stars unless I actively dislike it. But we also don't go up to 4 stars unless I think it's excellent. So, a solid medium. Never in my life that I remember anyway have I ever gotten like a weather alert. Jesus Christ, it's loud. And it woke me up, and even the old Huawei, which technically isn't really on and doesn't have the Wi-Fi, it got, oh my god, horrifying. And another blast from the past. I don't think I ever did get around to watching Elfin Lied. I really wanted to though. We're quite possibly in the red, which makes me a little hopeful because it doesn't seem so bad. We have lost a tile, and I can hear the roof whistling sometimes, which I don't like. It's been a real bad one, folks. It's real bad. And this is just really funny to me because I don't like putting things in my like immediate queue for the day on Tumblr that are snowing if it's not like the end of the year or if it's actually snowing. But I decided yesterday, fuck it, we're just going to do the Calvin and Hobbes comic strip thing where his dad goes out to play with him in the snow. And it's snowing and I love it, and I kind of hate it too because with the roof and the condition it is, I do not want to be outside. And as we all know, last year, the 1 week that it snowed was the 1 week that I was stuck in bed. So the trend continues, unfortunately, but it is beautiful. So shit looks like a mess because it is, but I promise we have a point. I want to finish this for the new Moonathon. I need to start filling out my diary, which was kindly gifted to me by a friend for absolutely no reason at all. We need to keep going with the transcriptions. I need to finish this panel. I swear to God, I need to finish this panel. And you. Now, am I aware that my promise to take care of myself technically does not include working on the weekends? Yes, but I am actually feeling pretty good right now and I feel strong enough to do this, so we're going to do it. One of the things that we talked about last week at therapy is maybe that I need a little bit of time away from the house. Not a holiday though, just maybe like find a part-time job, not for long, maybe just a few months or something. And I have spent like the last 3 or 4 days awake on like a normal person routine, and I am not wearing my glasses because it burns. It burns. Everything hurts and my brain kind of feels like it's starving, and I am just not having a good time. We're okay in terms of pilgrims, but things like the new Moonathon are kind of slipping by me, and I hate that, especially because I really wanted to put a lot of that research into like later 7 and 7s, which is also not doing great. Yeah, I don't know. I think in terms of the whole like building a year I can live in, or whatever it is that I'm going to be calling this video, I think sometimes you just gotta give up and just admit that you're pushing too hard. Even outside of that, what I will say is that I am a little bit sad that I'm not gonna therefore get the chance to kind of experiment with hairstyles this month. Because like we watched Love Game and Eastern Fantasy, and I love Esther Yu and her outfits. They're so pretty, and her hair. And being on Xiaohongshu, you see a lot more kind of like hair tutorials that are more kind of to my liking and just more interesting and appealing. But I just do not have the strength for any of that. I'm not saying that I look great, but at least I'm not in my pajamas with the letter right outside the window.
Nice dramatic sky too.
Aye.
Let me know when you're ready then, Judy.
Okay. Streamer got stuck.
Your streamer gets stuck.
Yeah.
Oh, hell spells.
So I have never actually watched one of these before. I've seen clips here and there. This is mostly just to have something going on in the background. But hopefully it'll be good. Also, this was my attempt at a stand. It's a game that I absolutely fell in love with back before I had really a way of connecting with China. This one is still not English subbed, but I think the latest, the third game is. This is not going to stand. Also, like, can you see where they sawed this off? Customs. Do you know how expensive this box was? And then they just completely wrecked it. But look at the cute wee monkeys. I know this is the wrong year for it, but I love them. So it is the second last day of the month, and I am exhausted. I really want to finish both Pilgrims, which I have to review tomorrow, and Religions of Beijing today, because it would be good to get the book out of the way, and so I can review it tonight, and also finish a second book for my readathon because that's going so badly. It's always the pleasure stuff that ends up being pushed back, and that sucks. I imagine that I will still be working on Pilgrims to some extent tomorrow, but beyond that, it would be really nice if we could focus on knitting. But I also have at least a little bit of 7/7 or even the next Y25 vlog, which has been bouncing around in my head for a few days, and I worry that I'm going to forget all of the things I need to mention. But yeah, the point is that this isn't easy, and this was never going to be easy. But if we work, we can make it easier. We can find a balance.